I wanted to make a video on poor pruning techniques and the problems that can lead to later on. Here we have a Norway Maple, and I'd like to give you a few examples of some poor cutting techniques. Well, I guess we'll start with this one. As you can see here, there's a tear right below on the right, where the branch would have ripped off and then taking some of the bark with it. Now that would be because they most likely cut the branch right at the end, so it would have ripped off and taking off some of the bark with it. So what you need to do here is, like, about on the bottom side of the branch, about 8 inches from the trunk, you cut about halfway, so you make a notch, so that way when the branch does come off, it won't keep going and tear the bark. So after that, on the top side, you start about 6 inches from the trunk, you start cutting down, and then what will happen is the branch will break off cleanly, and then after that, then you just the small stump, you just cut that off about a half inch from the trunk, a half to 1 inch. So you don't want to leave too much of a stub because it can sucker, and as well, it takes longer for the tree to grow over it, to heal over it, and so then rot has a chance to happen. See, so I'll give you an example of that right here. See here where we have a large stub that was left, and as you can see, it's starting to deteriorate. You can see here too how the growth collar of the tree is trying to grow over that, but because it's so large, yeah, it's going to take a long time, and now you can see how the rot has started, and that will continue. So when the tree finally is able to close over that, you're going to get rot inside the trunk, so which is eventually going to lead to a weak spot as the tree grows bigger. Well, that can lead to problems later on, having weak spots inside the trunk. So I'll give you another example of that, less extreme, but sort of the same idea here, where too much of a stub was left, and yeah, so it's taking too long for the tree to close over it and make a nice clean heel. So when you're cutting off branches, yeah, you just want to leave only about ½ inch to 1 inch from the trunk. Yeah, you don't want to go flush because then that can introduce infection. So you need to leave a little bit of a stub, but only ½ inch to 1 inch, nothing bigger than that, because otherwise it's going to take too long for the tree to close over and heal over, and then the stub that's left is going to have a chance to rot. So yeah, so I guess that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.